Nothing better than an old man. Aged like fine wine. So groovy girlies, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode of the People's Diary. I actually forgot how highly requested this was and you guys have been pestering me for another one ever since the last one, like literally the day after the last one was uploaded, so thank you. Obviously want to say a massive thank you for supporting this series continuously. We've literally had 1,000 more confessions since the last one and that's just crazy to me. But the topic for today's confessions is childhood confessions. Didn't realise how many of you were that f***ed up when you were younger, but so I've been a little bit techy on the People's Diary forum. I basically have multiple questions on there and one of them is your most embarrassing childhood memory. You guys went in. My most embarrassing childhood memory was my dad was actually doing the kitchen up with my granddad and they put like varnish on the cupboard and little old me thought that that was food, literally in relation to the last video. I think that's why it freaks me out so much. I went up to the cupboard and I licked it and it had gloss on it. It was like icing or something. Everything is cake and I got a splinter in my tongue. And I had to go to hospital. I was on the whole cake trend before it was even a trend. 4-year-old me was thriving. Let me just say this one with my whole chest. I masturbated with a carrot and the end of a toothbrush, hairbrush. I actually knew a lot of people in my high school that did the whole hairbrush thing and I don't know whether it was a rumor. I do know that that's the thing. Personally, I just could never because germs. Hello. I don't want to put foreign objects in my vagina unless it's specifically made for my vagina. That reminds me of Donald Trump and I want to be sick. China. Shouldn't be putting dirty objects in your vagina. Weird, weird, weird. Can anyone remember the woman that kept a gerbil in her vagina? So I feel like that was also a myth. But I want to see if anyone else remembers because I swear there was like a whole news article on it. I once slept with my step cousin when we were 5. However, we didn't really know what it was and we were 5. I'm so embarrassed and I feel so guilty every single day. Please help. I don't know how to help with that. I mean, you were 5 and wouldn't really have been sleeping together because your reproductive organs wouldn't have been developed by then. So, I mean, it is technically still sleeping together, but oh, that's so scarring. I don't know how to help you. I'm so sorry. I will leave links in the description to trauma, I guess that would be. I'm so sorry to hear. Me and my best friend used to pretend to play mums and dads. I never actually played that when I was younger, but I know a lot of people did. She was always the dad, and then when we were about 8 or 9, it turned into boyfriends and girlfriends, right? I hate the word snog. I just hate it. I hate it with my whole heart. What is that word? Just say kiss. We would snog and pretend to have sex and pretend to give blowjobs. We're still best friends now, but we don't talk about it. But now I'm bi. I feel like this was a sexual awakening for you. I mean, I don't really know how you can pretend to give a blowjob girl to girl, but oh, chat. Anyway, I was drunk and me and my ex, I assume now ex-best friend, but was best friend at the time, we're at a party and we were just chilling outside together and he was on things with my best friend and they recently became boyfriend and girlfriend. On things? He was on things. Like drugs? When we were outside, he peed in a bush and I didn't really think much of it because I was virtually paralytic anyway. Lovely. I gave him head in a bush, but didn't think about the fact, but I didn't think about the fact that he'd peed 5 seconds before until I woke up with a dick pic from him and I still haven't told my best friend. I was 14, by the way. I'm so embarrassed and ashamed. Also, before this night, I hadn't even kissed a boy. I absolutely love the fact that you went from literally being the Virgin Mary of the earth to sucking a dick. I will admit though, I feel like that was a common thing at parties, like a few dicks here and there. And for some reason, the boys would always go for a wee just before. And you know boys, they're a bit grubby. They don't really clean themselves after going to the toilet like girls do. So you can only imagine. It literally tastes like anti-bac. Don't know why you needed to know that information, but I wanted to share the experience with you. You are sadly not alone in that, gal. I also just saw in the end that you said I love you, so I love you too, by the way. Ew. I stayed at my cousin's house for a week straight, who had just split up with her boyfriend. We fell asleep in her bed watching a movie, and in her sleep, I think she thought that I was her ex, and her hands got lower and lower. We laugh about it to this day. I mean, at least you can laugh about it, because if that was me, I'd literally feel so fucking uncomfortable. When I was 12, I shaved my pubes in bed and then put the hairs inside a jewelry box. I was too lazy to throw them away straight away. My mum then opened the box the next day and saw my pubes and thought I was collecting them like a weirdo. On the topic of shaving, darlings, I actually would like to bring in today's sponsor for the video, which is Ashford. Ashford is a vegan shaving brand that doesn't really put any pressure on where you shave, how often you shave, or if you even need to shave. But because it's vegan, it is my personal favourite. I personally love the Ashford stand for this because it actually means that they have a subscription service that fits perfectly into your routine. For example, if you don't shave that often, you could actually have your subscription changed to every 3 months. So the Ashford Starter Kit that I actually have with me currently is £7.95, which is such a good price for what actually comes in the starter kit. You actually get a razor, which you can choose from 4 colours. I personally chose the peach because how can you not? 2 lots of the 5-blade razors, and on top of that you also get a wool holder, which is my absolute favourite thing. So the wool holder also matches the colour of your razor, but I'm always losing my razors in the shower. I don't even know where they go, they just must go down the drain or something. I must lose razors at such a rapid rate, and because they're plastic, I mean, it's not the best. However, Ashford's razors are made of steel and they're completely sustainable. The lubricated strip at the top, which is my personal favourite because it just glides on your skin so easily, it doesn't even feel like you're shaving. It's completely free from any animal products, making it sustainable and vegan. Packaging is 100% recyclable as well, which is always my struggle whenever I'm buying products. They always claim to be sustainable and vegan, but what about what you're shipping it in? The outer packaging is compostable corn, which I didn't even know was a thing. This is really random, but every time I go to buy something online, I'm always so turned off by the delivery. The product could literally be £100, £3.95 delivery, I literally don't want to know. However, with Ashford, they actually offer free climate compensated shipping for all customers, which is incredible. And on top of that, if you think this brand could not get any better, at checkout you can actually write in the code I don't know I'm Has, and you can actually donate £1 to the Ptsd Society organisation, which is actually an organisation very close to my heart because it works for women's rights in the UK. If you want to check out the Ptsd Society as well as Ashford, I'll leave all of the links in the description. But yeah, thank you so much for listening to my little ads, and let's get straight back into the confession. This one's really confusing my brain. I dated my best friend, then he broke up with me, so I dated his cousin, and then I dated his cousin's best friend. Then isn't that just gonna be him again? Oh my god, he didn't see the best friend as his best friend. What? And then the cousin's best friend broke my heart, so I got with his enemy, and now I'm in a happy relationship. Don't really know how to feel about that. I mean, you do you. Am I right, ladies? Am I right, everyone, actually? This one's giving me really bad vibes because I just remember the video that went viral ages ago of that man that had sex with a horse and he died. I dreamt that I had sex with a horse when I was 12. I'm really intrigued to see if you actually are a horse girl. You know those ones that you had in your school. I humped my stuffed toys from 3 months old to 8 years old. 3 months old. You can't even move at 3 months old, can you? That was when I found out about sex, and I thought I was having sex in my toys. I was so stupid. I mean, you're not really stupid. You were 8 years old and below. Like, I just want to know what made you hump them at 3 months old, because surely that's not right. Something must have showed you to do that. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Why do I always do that? Shake a, shake a, shake a, look what you can make. Bitch. Yesterday I started my period and I generally thought I had shat myself because no one told me it would look like that. Oh no. Oh Jesus. I've been watching porn since I was 10 years old, and now I have really weird fetishes, such as pissing, BDSM, and I'm sure BDSM is like when you get tied up, right? I know so many of you are going to be watching this being like, oh, this pretending not to know what BDSM is, but she f***ing watches it. I can confirm, generally you don't even know what BDSM is. Ooh, as well as incest, teacher and student, and really old men like 60s. Nothing better than an old man. Age like fine wine. I once had a dream about sticking a triangle up my vagina. I am 11 and I watch porn. How do I stop it? Because I can't. A triangle is in the musical instrument triangle. People really be adventurous nowadays. I don't know how to help you with that. I feel like your parents should probably monitor what you watch. But also, you know it's bad. You, at 11 years old, which is a very young age, probably shouldn't be watching my videos, so I'm really confused why you're here. But welcome to the channel. I'll try not to swear from this point on. You know it's bad and you're saying, how do I stop? So you're very conscious, which is good. I would not suggest sticking a foreign object inside of you. Highly would not recommend. If you really do want to know about these things, then I suggest talking to your parents and asking them about the birds and the bees. I really don't know what to suggest. I'm not a social worker and I also don't have kids. You're not my child. Ooh, child. I drank a full glass of alcohol thinking it was raspberry juice when I was 5 years old. Firstly, who drinks raspberry juice? I feel like raspberry juice and strawberry juice was very unheard of when I was a kid, and it was the only thing I wanted, but I had to do with pomegranate and cranberry juice, which cranberry juice I now drink if I have, what's that word? STI, a urinal infection. When I was 6 or 7 I lived, oh I can't even say this. When I was 6 or 7 I lived across the road from my nana's house. I like the fact you call her nana, that's really cute. We went there every day and night to have dinner and everything, but one thing that happened for about 3 months every single weekend was that my cousins would be there, and my oldest cousin, he's 17 I think, would get me to do sexual stuff and licked my vagina and asked me if it felt good. It's really mad how much incestual sexual activity goes on and you don't know. Think of how many people are in your life and just think, did something happen to you? I'm not saying you were to blame in this situation at all, because you wasn't. You were 6 and 7 years old. I always just wonder if like I'm surrounded by people that have similar stories. Absolutely killing me. Clear, it hurt. What have I done? Oh my god, this is a massive one. This is a really big one. This is such a good one to end on. But you have wrote me a bloody novel. I'm here for it. That's what the People's Diary is all about. My first ever boyfriend was a catfish. Do you know what? Me too. Jinx. I was with him from being 15 to 16. I'm now 24. She came clean and we ended up being friends. Oh, it was a girl pretending to be a boy. Oh, that's nice that you ended up being best friends. Oh, that's on me being soft as fuck. Then we finally met up and she came on to me. I didn't fight it, but I also didn't really know if I wanted it or not. But this happened every single time we met up until I was 18. It always felt so pressured, but I was scared to say no. That's so sad. When I started going out to clubs, I definitely realised that I didn't want to be involved in the little thing that we had, as I always was unsure as to what it actually was. And it was definitely more of a comfort thing on my part. Interesting. I didn't want her to fall out with me though, because I didn't want to cause any drama, but she hated me for going out clubbing and made me feel like I wasn't allowed. And I had to stay at home and Skype her all the time. I ended up on a night out with her once and bumped into the lad that I was seeing, and she kicked off at me because I was cheating on her. Oh god, this is horrific. Even though we absolutely weren't together, but she thought we still were, even from being 15 despite everything coming out. We still speak on occasion, but absolutely aren't close. She fell out with me again when I turned 21 because I moved away to uni and didn't move to her city. What a fucking weirdo. I didn't really feel comfortable telling the new girls that I'd moved in with her, that I'd done stuff with the girl. I'm actually now fully straight. Oh. And I don't question that. I argued that it was my choice what my friends knew about my life and my past, but she absolutely was not having that. But anyways, I have so many wonderful new non-forceful friends. Now she's just in the background popping up here and there. Sorry that was long. Love you. Love you too. She just sounds like a compulsive pathological liar and a manipulative liar. The fact that she was a catfish in the first place is just a major warning sign. And I was gonna say good on you for like just being friends with her and pushing past it, but it sounds like she should have been gone a long time ago. So fair play to you for moving on and realizing your sexuality, because you were manipulated into thinking that, and I'm really sorry that that happened. But you're happy now, you have new friends, and yeah, you only share with your friends what you want them to know. No pressure there at all. Also, can I just say, throughout the whole of uni and the whole of school, I've always wondered if I have dyslexia, and that was the most difficult thing to read because I kept like skipping a few lines and thinking, this doesn't make sense. So groovy girlies, I'm actually going to end this video here. Do obviously go check out the description. I've mentioned quite a lot's going to be happening down there throughout this video, and if you do want to go confess something, treat it as your own diary. The link for that will also be in the description. I love hearing your stories and I love you guys opening up to me, and we all just share it anonymously on this channel, so we can all have a little bit of a laugh and a joke, our past traumas. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for everything, and I will see you in the next video. Say boom, bitch, get out the way, get out the way, bitch, get out the way.
Hello everyone, I hope that you're all doing well. My name is Dua and today I'm here to talk to you about Crohn's and PTSD. But before we start, I want to say a massive thank you to Haz for letting me use her platform to raise awareness about both illnesses, because they're both invisible and they both take a long time to get diagnosed. So the first thing that I'm going to be talking about is PTSD, and PTSD stands for post-traumatic stress disorder, essentially a normal reaction of the brain when an abnormal event or a traumatic event happens to you. So when a person goes through trauma, they can develop PTSD, especially if that trauma isn't dealt with straight away or they haven't talked about it straight away and processed what happened. And I also want to say that PTSD doesn't only happen to people who went to war, but realistically it's an illness that happens when you go through anything traumatic in your life or a near-death experience, whether that is car crashes, physical abuse, sexual abuse, and so on. Also, something to bear in mind is that you can go through something traumatic in your childhood and then only develop PTSD years and years later when you're an adult. And it is very common that you'd go through something traumatic, your brain literally just shuts down, black it out of your memory, and you won't remember it until years and years later, and that's when the PTSD starts happening. You get in flashbacks, dreams about it, and start remembering the traumatic event. That leads me into the symptoms. So for me, it was very disturbing flashbacks, very vivid nightmares. I was so anxious all the time. I had a lot of intrusive thoughts. I had really bad insomnia, and I'm not an angry person at all, and that's not something I actively acted on. I just held a lot of anger in my heart. I had PTSD from childhood trauma, and I couldn't comprehend why it only started affecting me when I was 20. So I saw a GP, explained everything, but they didn't diagnose me. They said that they couldn't do anything for me because I was under 25. I don't know if that's the case anymore, but at the time they didn't have have any mental health services for people under 25 and that I should go seek independent help. And they recommended talking therapy, which I did for about 3 months, and it didn't help. And at that point I really hit rock bottom because I didn't have a diagnosis. Therapy wasn't helping. However, I don't know if it was fate or if the universe was trying to save me, but I was at a bookstore and I stumbled upon this book called Trauma by Gordon Turnbull, and honestly this book saved my life. It explains everything about PTSD and also all the treatments available to people with PTSD. Honestly, I am still forever thankful for this book. I strongly believe that the first step to recovery is getting an accurate diagnosis, which was not my case at all. So when I finished reading this book, I self-diagnosed with PTSD. So I called up Mind, the charity, and I said, listen, I think that I've got PTSD and I would like EMDR therapy. So what they did is run me through a questionnaire to make sure that I actually had PTSD, and I in fact did. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. EMDR therapy is hard, and it got so much worse before it got better, because what they essentially make you do is remember and process the trauma. And honestly, the sessions were so intense and so hard that at the end of each one of them, I wasn't able to walk. I would see partially blurry. I wasn't able to even stand properly, so I had to take taxis to get myself home. And after that, I would sleep for 12 to 18 hours straight, and then my brain wouldn't be able to function properly until a week after the session. But the thing to remember is that these side effects are completely normal when you're doing EMDR therapy. My PTSD now is for the most part cured. So I remember my past trauma as if you'd remember the pain from a broken leg. So it doesn't affect my day-to-day life, but I know it happened. It's not that it completely erased it from my brain. In terms of Crohn's, both my sister and I suffer from it. So Crohn's is one of the 2 main forms of inflammatory bowel disease, IBD, which attacks the whole digestive system. So it can start anywhere from your mouth to your butthole. It causes ulceration, inflammation, bleeding. This affects the body's ability to digest food and absorb nutrients in a healthy way. And that's why a lot of people with Crohn's disease lose an insane amount of weight. And this obviously means that you have to adjust your daily activities, your food, everything you're doing around this illness, which can be really emotionally draining, and especially during a flare-up. But it is very important to note that Crohn's affects people differently, and I think that's why it took the doctors such a long time to diagnose me, because I didn't have all of the usual symptoms. And even between me and my sisters, we had completely different symptoms at first. So she had issues with her stomach, whereas I had issues with my lower intestines. But some common symptoms are severe bloating, nausea, blood in stools, chronic fatigue, and anemia, because our insides are effectively constantly bleeding. Unfortunately, there's currently no cure to Crohn's disease. However, there are different types of medication that help you manage your symptoms, especially immunosuppressants, which are a type of medication that suppress your immune system and prevent it from attacking your digestive system. Some people might also need various surgeries during their lifetimes. A lot of people live with a stoma bag. A stoma bag is essentially a bag connected to your big intestine where you poo and fart instead of pooing and farting from your bum hole. Sorry if it sounds a bit TMI, but it is the reality of a lot of people suffering from Crohn's. Luckily, neither me or my sister have had to have a stoma bag inserted. However, it's not always permanent. You can get that surgery reversed. Both my journeys to recovery with Crohn's and PTSD has been a lot of proactivity on my end and a lot of research, because I so wanted to get better. Everything was taking over in my life and I just didn't feel heard. I didn't feel heard when it comes to my PTSD. Obviously I didn't get a diagnosis until I called up and said, this is what I think I have. And in terms of my Crohn's, I was the one going to the GP almost every week at one point saying, listen, something's really wrong with me. I know my body and I know that this isn't just IBS. It can't just be IBS. I think that at one point they just got tired and sick of me and just referred me to a gastro. All I want to say is that you know your health better than anyone. Your doctor doesn't live inside your body. So if you genuinely think that something's massively wrong with you, just keep on pushing, keep on researching, and just ask for referrals, don't give up on your health, because at the end of the day that's all you have. By filming this video I wanted to share what it is like to live with two completely different invisible illnesses, and I also want to remind everyone to always be kind, because you never know what other people are going through behind closed doors. But that's it for me today. Thank you so much for listening to everything that I had to say. Bye. Mwah.